Hey guys, Dr. Ben here. Welcome. Excited to talk to you today about Alzheimer's, type 3 diabetes. Many of you have heard of type 2, type 1, but there is a type 3. So stick with us. If you haven't already, like or follow our page. We love getting the word out to everybody out there. Videos, posts, all types of different things. Check out our YouTube page as well. I've posted a link and some other videos, and we've got all of our videos, over almost 300 videos on there, and you can search them where Facebook is a lot harder to search. So check out YouTube and you can get onto those. So welcome. Also share this with anybody that you know that's aging, that has an aging brain, that is worried about Alzheimer's, that their family members have Alzheimer's, dementia, anything like that. We've got to get this information out there. I say all the time, if we can stabilize people's blood sugar, we can reverse and prevent 90% of chronic conditions out there. And Alzheimer's and dementia is one of the biggest ones that we can prevent with this. And this is what the research is showing now. So let's jump into this. Alzheimer's disease is type 3 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is going to be where you have an autoimmune disease. A lot of times as a kid, their body starts attacking the pancreas, can't kick out insulin, and they get type 1 diabetes. They have to be on a pump, all kinds of things. Then we have type 2, or what they used to call adult onset, but why don't we call it adult onset anymore? Because kids are getting type 2 diabetes. We're seeing teens getting insulin resistance. We're seeing 20-year-olds getting diabetes. So it's not just adult onset. Some people call it sugar diabetes, things like that. And then we've got now what we call type 3 diabetes. And this is ultimately Alzheimer's is a form of diabetes. And what's happening, think about this. If you've known anybody with diabetes, what starts happening to their feet and their hands? Hey Michelle, good to see you up there in Estes Park. Hope you got some snow. I bet it's pretty. So your hands and feet, people start losing sensation. They start getting what's called diabetic neuropathy, and the nerves start being destroyed and they start getting damaged. And it's not really the nerve that's being destroyed and damaged, it's actually the blood vessels, and then ultimately they don't have enough circulation. I had a patient that had paralysis from shingles. She had shingles about 18 times by the time she was about 28 years of age, and one leg was almost paralyzed. We'd got a lot of work back in that leg, but we ended up doing stem cells right where most of that damage was. And the stem cells, hey Christy, good to see you there. And the stem cells were not to rebuild the nerves necessarily, it was actually more for the blood flow. So that blood flow was able to regenerate the nerves, and now she's walking, running, doing a lot of different things through there. So the same thing, same thought process in our brain when we start thinking about our feet. Hey Becky, good to see you. When you start thinking about your feet and getting that neuropathy, your brain is the biggest nerve bundle in the body. So as this blood flow decreases to the brain because of the damaged blood vessels from elevated insulin, elevated glucose, you're going to start degenerating nerve tissue. Biggest nerve bundle in the body is in your brain. So what do you have to do? Well, you've got to stabilize your blood sugar. We'll talk about that in a second. But there was a study where they actually sprayed insulin, a nasal mist insulin, which helps pull glucose out of the bloodstream, did it into the nasal cavity and slowed down Alzheimer's and even started reversing some of that cognitive decline. So, pretty amazing that there's such a blood sugar component to this, and yet a lot of people are not talking about it. Most people that we say type 3 diabetes, they have no idea what we're talking about. So here's how this goes down. When blood sugar goes up, when your glucose spikes up, when your insulin spikes up, all this, it increases what are called beta amyloid plaques. And these are proteins that are going to kind of clump the nerves together and not allow the nerves to move and communicate like they're supposed to. And so elevated blood sugar is going to cause this problem. We're going to get decreased blood flow when we get that elevated blood sugar. So the brain gets hit very, very hard. And so what do you have to do? You've got to keep that blood sugar stabilized. Well, if you go look at WebMD, the magic website that tells you everything to do health-wise, not really, but that's what pops up for a lot of people, WebMD, they say keep your A1C below 7, which is ridiculous. When we look at A1C, 5.7 is prediabetes. When you start getting into 5.9 or 6.0, you're getting in the diabetes range, and they say to keep it under 7. If any of my patients are watching, let me know what you think about a 7.0 on the A1C. I mean, it's just crazy to be that high, and they say anything under that is fine. I mean, that's damage galore, nonstop degeneration to the brain. So what do I know about the brain? Well, I wrote my book, Rebuild Your Brain, Stop the Damage, Start the Repair. And I wrote that because I've got the genetics. It's actually called the Alzheimer's gene, the APOE4. And I'm upwards of 10 to 15 times more likely to get Alzheimer's than somebody that does not have that. 25% of the population has this gene that I have. And it's a simple genetic test. You can do it in the 23andMe and some things like that. But everything that I do day in and day out to keep my blood sugar stabilized, to exercise, to take supplements, all those things, is to also prevent Alzheimer's and dementia. How many of you out there, give me a thumbs up if one of the most terrifying things in your life at the end stage would be to get Alzheimer's, or to have a spouse or loved one get Alzheimer's and have to deal with that. I mean, it's intense. It's one of the saddest things for people to go through, and yet for the vast majority of people, it is preventable. So just like if somebody has full-blown diabetes, we can reverse diabetes in 6 to 8 weeks. And so if we can do that, we can pull people back off that brink of Alzheimer's, dementia, any of these issues that they're going to be dealing with cognitive decline and neurodegeneration. So how do you do that? Well, one of the first things you do is you have to stabilize your blood sugar. And this is what we do with patients all the time. You need to keep your blood sugar between 85 and 110 all day long. And it's totally feasible, totally able to do it. If you're crashing down, you're getting hypoglycemia, hangry, that revs up the adrenals and causes more stress. If you're spiking up, that's creating this insulin response, it's throwing off your hormones, it's creating the neurological damage, it's creating inflammation, causing you to gain body fat, all these other issues. So you've got to keep that blood sugar as stable as possible. One of the best things that you can do to keep your body from going into that Alzheimer's dementia phase is to keep your blood sugar as stable as possible. There's late night TV, they'll be throwing supplements at you, all these things to prevent that, but none of that is going to overcome your blood sugar imbalances. So again, they're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Decreases blood flow to the brain, increases that high blood sugar, increases the beta amyloid plaques, which are going to block the nerve conduction, and you've got to get your blood sugar stabilized. One, you want it under 5.7 on your A1C, but you also want it consistent 85 to 110 all day long. So hopefully that helps. Drop me a question, anything down below that you have in regards to this. Love to get this information out there. If you want more information on this, grab my book off of Amazon, Blood Sugar Doesn't Lie. And that's why I wrote it, because we see it so many times that as we start reversing the blood sugar imbalances and prediabetes, insulin resistance, diabetes, all those things, we start seeing phenomenal changes in what's going on in people's brains. So hope that helps, guys. Make it a great day. Stay strong out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.